Blizzard of Brofist to you all! And as you see, I am not in my usual locale. I am doing drama time from Sweden today. It's a Saturday as well. It's a Saturday, the sun is shining brightly, and we are live from Sweden for Echo's race to World First in World of Warcraft, a race that is taking a very strange shape. Reminds me of the old races with a lot of easy bosses that just kind of die after 20 or so pulls, and then we're just moving forward at a nice steady pace. But at this rate, we are likely to be seeing the last boss very early this reset, so could it be a short race? Could it be a long race? Depends on Blizzard, as they buffed both of the last two bosses this morning. They added some new buffs to the game to modify it, but strange choices, buffing avoidable mechanics that people wouldn't be trying to take anyway. So not really sure what the game plan is there with Blizzard, but it is a thing that they are doing. So it's going to be an interesting next few days here in Sweden, but I'm having a great time. First time I've ever been to Sweden, and it's absolutely beautiful. And we are with ESA, the speedrunners, that are treating us phenomenally well. Phenomenally well. So Bex seems to have received a story, knowing I was coming to the Race to World First, that seems very relevant to where we are right now. So let's see how this one goes, because this one is titled World First Raider. World First Raider. And this will star our wonderful Sazed Coppermind and Cassia, who are going to be a part of this. I don't know who sent me this, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, then. Let's jump into it. Let's get started, because I am going to be on the couch with Mr. Jeeth. Many of you know him as Jesse in a not-too-distant future, actually very short time. So let's get started, because I was dragged through some Blue Mage that I've been playing in Final Fantasy XIV, having a blast with Blue Mage, trying to grab us a couple more spells before we got into drama time. Let's go. Hey, Preacher! I hope you're enjoying the Race to World First in Sweden. I wanted to tell you this quick little story about a member of my family who is a World First Raider. You might know them. In fact, you probably do. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I demand you get out the gavel. I did not bring the gavel to Sweden. I'm sorry. I have not got the gavel here. I do have a very thick smoothie that I can bang on the desk. I have got that. I've got a very thick smoothie with me. So we'll see how that'll have to do. But the chats, of course, will make up for my lack of gavel. They are more than ready to take command of the gavel situation. Here goes. Let me tell you my tale. I have a cousin. He's called Sazed Coppermind. He works on a farm picking asparagus into boxes. Okay, so I assume the cousin is not a member of Echo, at least. I don't know of any of the Echo Raiders who are asparagus pickers. Oh, it's a she. She. Okay. I have a cousin, Sazed Coppermind, who works on a farm picking asparagus into boxes. I see her very rarely. She has 4 sons, aged 12, 15, 17, and 21. Their father was a local thief who once boasted the largest pornography collection in the district, according to him. Wow. Tobo is around the right age. I'd have to ask about his dad's pornography collection. A few years ago, he took the eldest son and vanished to Thailand. Sazed Coppermind tells me that losing touch with her eldest is a price worth paying to be rid of that overly fertile criminal scumbag forever. I was chatting with Sazed Coppermind late last year. I asked how her kids were doing. She told me her 17-year-old Cassia was really into World of Warcraft. In fact, he was just getting ready now for the World First race. Apparently, it was kind of a big deal. I said, really? I used to play World of Warcraft myself. She said, yes. He's very excited about it and he's putting in a ton of effort. He's in a guild that is going to be competing for the world first prize in the brand new Mythic Raid. They practice all the time and he really can't do anything to help out except play the game. She'd let him quit his job on the farm and everything so he could focus onto WoW. She was also saving up for a brand new computer for him. I asked him the name of the guild, maybe I had heard of it. She said Echo. Is this someone pretending to be a part of Echo? Is this some guy who's like claiming he's in Echo? I swear to you, it says she said Echo. I think this is like that guy who said he was like in Method on that dating game. And everyone's like, I have no idea who that fucking guy is. Now, okay, let's see where it goes. Now, I wasn't exactly up to speed on the game or keeping track of the top 10 or anything, but I knew Echo. Specifically, I knew they were an EU guild full of famous players. The likelihood is that my cousin's chucklefuck teenage son was playing with Echo on an old business laptop using an ADSL line from rural Australia seemed unlikely at best. Can confirm there are no Australians currently on the Echo roster. Yeah. I don't think so. Some asparagus... I think I would know if there was an asparagus farming Australian who was currently part of the team. That feels like knowledge I would have. At that point during the conversation, Kasir and his brothers entered the room. I, of course, engaged meme mode. Alright, Kasir. Heard you're in Echo, mate. Pushing for world first and that. He knew I knew about the game. He immediately went beet red. Yeah, and walked out of the room. The brothers laughed and went with him. His mother, Say's copper mind, said, oh, he's shy because it's about video games. But he knows that I'm so proud of him. And one day he'll be able to get sponsored and buy me a new house. At least that's what he tells me. He told me world first raiders get paid very, very well. And that's why he needs so much practice on the computer. Bro. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. That kid is fucked. I, knowing the truth, changed the subject. But later on in the day, I decided to go and find Kasir. I immediately opened with, there's no fucking way you're in Echo. What are you doing? He refused to talk, but his brothers cracked immediately when I showed the slightest insight into gaming culture. And they filled me in. It turns out... Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, it gets worse, dudes. It gets so much worse. It turns out that Kasir had started playing his computer a lot. And when his mother came in to see what he was doing, he had decided to load up streams playing Echo and put his camera over one of the players on his laptop and pretend he was part of the team. He'd started clicking along with the mouse and even started pretending to talk on comms to the boys through his headset. He does this up to 14 hours a day. He talks about the members of Echo like they're his friends, and it had now developed in his whole life so that he didn't have to work on the farm anymore. I mean, if you live in Chucklefuck Nowhere, Australia, and your options are picking asparagus or gaming all day, I kind of get it. You're a young kid, and your choices are fucking picking asparagus out of the desert or just fucking gaming all day. I kind of know where I would be, but you've got to justify it. You can't just say gaming, right? It's not mental disorder territory. It's just a lie he's got himself caught up in. You know what I mean? He's got caught up in it, and he's fucked. He's gone too far to bring it all back. Let's see where we go. Now, I had planned to make Kasir go and tell his mother the truth immediately. But when I heard the story, I actually felt really bad for him, and I let it slide. I just gave him a little wink and wished him luck on the race to world first. Now, the problem is, and this is where I need help from chat, you're going to get some very mixed opinions. As far as I know, it has been since the last race. So this was during Vault of the Incarnates. Says Coppermind still thinks her son is a famous esports player. When I hear about it, I feign ignorance of the whole thing. The situation is definitely wrong, and I could end it with a single text message. But I kind of want Kasir to crash in his own time and get himself straight. What do you guys think I should do? I think you give him an out, is what I think you do. Because he's deep in there now, right? He's fucking buried. He's buried. I think you talk to the kid and you just say, go and tell your mum it didn't work out and you're not a part of Echo anymore. And then just leave it there. Like, give him an out. I think that's the way you end the whole thing without it being a giant fucking drama and all that kind of stuff. Just tell the kid to tell his mum that it's not worked out with Echo. It's a bit. He could even say, "Look, it was a bit stressful. I had to play all day, every day, and I'm not really into it anymore. So I'm leaving it behind." And then just leave it there. Done. But the problem you've got is if this kid is like completely addicted to video games, then that's a deeper problem, right? The question is, does this kid want to give up the fantasy? That's when it's a problem. It becomes a problem when the fantasy is better than the reality and he doesn't want to leave the fantasy, at which point then you've got a real issue. But, man, people have made all sorts of shit up as a kid. It just kind of sucks. What does she say? Does he have to get up, like, super early for the race? I mean, his mum won't know the hours, right? So I assume he's not, like, waking up at 5 a.m. for the reset. God knows what time that is in Australia. And sitting there for, like, 14 to 16 hours during race time? I mean, he's a farmer, I guess. Yeah, because the Raiders start here at 5 a.m. Swedish time, 5 a.m. Euro time. 5 a.m. EU is fine for Australia. But he has to play till the middle of the night, right? It needs to be stopped soon. Yeah, it needs to be stopped sooner rather than later. Your issue is, does this kid prefer the fantasy life than the reality? In which case, you need a deeper talking to. It's like, you can't live in the fantasy world. You've got to go forward. You've got to move on. That's really fucking sucks. That really sucks. But hell, I made up a girlfriend once. Just because my dad kept mithering me about getting a girlfriend. I just said I had one in school. You wouldn't know her. My dad was like, oh, invite her for dinner. We'll take her out and meet her and do all that kind of stuff. And that's when my fantasy girlfriend broke up with me. Around that time is when my fantasy girl broke up with me. It was really sad. It was really, really sad. It was devastating. It really was. It was terrible. She lives in Surrey. Yeah, it was honestly, I just wanted my dad to shut the fuck up about talking about girls. That's all I want. All right, let's have this response. Let's see where it goes. All right. The return. So you might remember the story that left us all in shambles a couple of weeks ago. Super sad. And it was titled Goodbye Guildmaster. But I am assured there will be no tears today. There'll be no tears today. I am absolutely assured. Bex recommends. All right, here we go. Oi, oi! A wonderful oi, oi to you, Preacher, and your cutie uwu chat. And big love to the phenomenal Bex. I'm sure Bex added that in. You recently read a tale of my childhood idiocy and the legacy of Sandman Slims. And you had many questions, and I wanted to give you a follow-up to what happened. First up, and this is to your chat. Don't blame Bex for making Mike read the story to you. She's an angel, and I demand apologies. Never. Never. That's not happening. No, there'll be no apologies to Bex. None at all. Your cutie chat was quite eager to proclaim me guilty And I wanted to say, I accept my judgment of the court, and I will not even try to defend myself. Yes, I am guilty. I was a complete menace. Yes, you were. You took a lot of those guys for a long, long ride. While I look back and feel a little bit bad about how I treated all my e-boyfriends over the years, I don't feel guilty about it as a whole at all. The fact that I was e-thotting my way through Azeroth as a child and getting anything I wanted is hilarious to me looking back. The literal I couldn't give a fuck. I really don't. And hearing you read through it made it even funnier for me. Some might find me a cold-hearted and cruel, and to that I simply say, I was young. My only excuse was that I was like 14 years old. There are grown-ass people today still falling for this same kind of shit I was doing 15 years ago. Fuck those dudes. Besides, those guys that I was dating were mostly creeps. I did lie to them about my age, but only by a few years. To some guys, I told them I was 15, and to others, I claimed I was 16. Many of these dudes were above 25, so I have no sympathy for these chumps. Wow, good use of the word chumps, actually. I like that. There is a kind of irony in the fact that Dad never wanted me to play Horde because he said it was filled with pedos, but I had far more experience on the Alliance than I ever did on the Horde side, which leaned more towards sweaty gamer nerds. I mean, it's true, but you don't need to put it out there like that, right? We just care more about logs over here. That's all. That's a Horde deal. We just care more about logs than anything else. We just want to make sure you can press your buttons. Being able to press your buttons properly is extremely attractive. That's all I'm going to say. It's a very attractive quality. I do want to say, yes, you were correct. I did have multiple stripper names that I gave to these guys. I think the sluttiest name I ever used was Destiny Star. Never stick your dick in somebody called Destiny Star, because your destiny is an STD. Okay? Never, ever, ever. Fellas, never put any part of you inside anyone called Destiny Star. Just leave that alone. Leave it alone. Move on. There is definitely going to be an ointment in your future. Unfortunately, or perhaps if your audience's opinion is anything to go by, fortunately, we have not met yet. Okay. You do not know who I am, but I do hope to grace PreachCon with my e-thotting wiles one day. Okay. I did think I knew who you were, but okay. No one is safe. All right, PreachCon goers. If a lady turns up and she just wants one drink, just one. I've left my card upstairs. I haven't been able to change my money yet. There's an issue with the bank because I'm in a different country. You know what I mean? If there's any of that going on, yeah, Flower Lady 2.0. The thing is, you should know, the goers of PreachCon are seasoned. They are seasoned with the manipulation. They're not going to fall for it even once. They're good. Okay. Where were you? Okay. Bex, hook a sister up and send me the deets. We could start a homosexual harem, and together we can e-thought our way into creating an army of thirsty emules. Jesus Christ. Pixie, I saw you in the chat. I apologize for Mike's accusations that this was you. I will buy you dinner to make up for it. Bullshit! You're manipulating again. You'll take Pixie for dinner, you'll have a lovely night out, and then you forgot your fucking bank card. You're full of it, Destiny Star. We know. We fucking know what your game is. You've got Bex for drinks, you've got Pixie for dinner. It's a fucking lie. It's an absolute scam, and we know it. We've seen it all before. To answer one of your questions of how did I manage so many boyfriends simultaneously with different names, one of your viewers called it. I used a spreadsheet and a Word document to track notes to go with names. That's unfucking believable. That's unfucking believable. But I do want to clear the air with your audience. I did misremember a detail, as your chat kindly pointed out. Dual Spec wasn't in the Burning Crusade. Again, it was fucking years ago. It doesn't matter. I just did a dungeon that I did once, like 12 months ago, and didn't remember every detail. And I got blasted for it. And lolled at. It doesn't matter. If someone remembers it now, everybody should remember it now. Right? Because they remember it now. And that's just facts. That's just the way it goes. So the details of what I did get a little fuzzy. I remember getting dual spec and then leveling through Outland, so I must have returned just as Wrath came out or some shit like that. My brother actually did confront my father about all the dumb shit he told us about. Wow! Oh, of course, we had the father who pretended to know everything in the early days, and the consensus was that he truly did believe the lies he was telling us. A lot of things that he knew about the game was what he was told from somebody else, and it's highly likely that they lied to him for jokes. That's fair. Father also did not pay for our WoW sub on top of extra chores. We already had set chores, and we had to do chores on top of chores to pay for World of Warcraft. Son of a bitch. Back then, I think we had like $15 or $20 a month spending money, and $30 if we did chores on top of our chores. This was, of course, back in the days of physical game cards and dial-up internet. So not only did we have to find our own way to the store to pick up game cards, but because getting that $20 was so fucking tedious, we often went months without actually bothering to do the chores to play World of Warcraft. So when we finally did want to play, we had to wait for the patch and update on dial-up internet. It was the worst. It took forever because of that dial-up, but anytime Dad needed to use the phone, which was a lot as he was running his company from the house, the internet got turned off and we had to pray the patch didn't completely shit itself, which it did on many occasions. So then we had to re-download the game using a bunch of CDs and then wait for it to patch again. I also mentioned that updating or reinstalling WoW took a precious hour allotment of our gaming time per day. Dad had 2 computers and only kept his WoW updated so that he didn't chew up unnecessary internet time. Wow. What a dad. What a dad. You don't even play. You didn't do your chores this month. Like, why would I fucking bother? I forgot to mention another fine detail that you might like. The private server that they played on, with the no-clipping pillagers and gigantic sewer hydras, was actually owned by his friend. And it was said friend who convinced my dad to have us play there so he could start getting users on his own private server. Years later, we found out that, yes, we were essentially alpha testers for his friends, attempting to make a profit off private servers. Oh, you've given me the name of the private server? Yeah, I'm not going to reveal that. Dad made us play there, not only for out of convenience, but because he was offered a cut of the money if he made us play on the broken private server. What a fucking asshole! Best dad! No way! The best dad! Jesus Christ! Needless to say, the server was so fucky it did not work out in the end, and we never saw a dime. Your chat likes to pretend they're big and scary, guilty hammer-wielding mega-chads, but deep down, you're all big softies. They can be quite violent at times, I would say. The chat can be quite violent whenever they feel like it. It was extremely heartwarming to see how touched everyone was by my story. I want to thank everyone for their kind words and sentiments, and to thank those that did in fact reach out to loved ones as a result of my tale. Sandbad Slims was a baller. It's thanks to you and his legacy now lives on through far more people than I could reach on my own. And it's also thanks to you that I feel like I can move on just a little bit. My heart is still broken, but knowing my story meant so much to people has mended it a little. Thanks for reading my story, Preacher, and thank you to that audience for going on that emotional roller coaster of a journey with me. You're being proclaimed guilty. So everyone out there listening, it's you, Preacher Bex. Keep your chins up. With love, the author. P.S. That dinner offer is also open to you, Bex. You're both getting fucked over. Here's a screenshot of the letter that Sandman Slim sent me that I still keep to this day. I resubbed to World of Warcraft just to take this screenshot for you. I blocked out a bit due to it containing the personal information, such as names and the name of my book, but the gist of it was that he was encouraging me to stick with it, and he can't have a signed copy of the book if I don't write it. Where's Zoom on here? on the Google Docs. Can I just Control Z? Control plus? Yeah. Okay. This works, yeah. Keep at it, and good luck with the ending of the book that started the ball rolling. Cat eyes. And no matter what anyone says, no one in this world can bring you down. They can only do so if you let them. Chin up always. Oh, Sandman Slims. An absolute legend. Sandman Slims sending lovely messages to lovely people. What a legend. Okay, we have to read this. If we're on the theme of dodgy dads, so we're going with this one here. But is your dad coming too? All right, we've got a definite running theme of ropey fathers, so let's go with it. Ooh. All right, Cyan, Fat Kid, Calendar, Cryo Bomber. Oh, thank you, Obsidian. Okay. So my wonderful live audience joining me here in Sweden, we need a guild name that is teenage-based. We need a teenager-based guild name to go along with our tale here. So put yourself in the mind of perhaps an asparagus farmer, the Shadow Rangers, the musical rats. Fuck you, I knew. The monsters, 10 inches unbuffed. That's a bit of a classic. The Stars of Destiny. Yeah, I like that. Sounds like anal. Destiny Star and her Star of Destiny. Oh, yeah. That's the dream right there. Behold. Behold. All right, then. What are we, 10 past 12? Okay. I'm on the couch in 50 minutes, and I need to have lunch in that time and get changed. We're good. Okay. Hello, Preach, Bex, and greetings to the objectively correct audience and jury of yours. I stand before you with a confession. A confession. At the time, I was a young teenage boy in the wonderful world of MMOs. I had just reached level 80, 30 days before Cataclysm launched, and ravaged the world and left me with my first ever expansion where I was allowed to play endgame. I know Cataclysm isn't well regarded among incorrect, that's my edition, Cataclysm was fine, WoW community, but I still have the fondest memories bashing my head against the dungeons and wiping to the elevator boss in Blackwing Descent. It was at Blackwing Descent where I experienced my first ever raid. Nothing prepared me for the awe I had when I got to ride the lava worm. Magmar? And kite those constructs apart. Constructs would be Omnitron Defense System. Yeah, Magmar and Omnitron Defense System. Those would be the first two bosses in Blackwing Descent. As some of you might have guessed from my description of that first boss fight, I was a tank. While leveling, I discovered tanking for myself as I could not be asked to wait for dungeon queues. But because no one in my friend group knew how to tank, I thought I was hot shit. You see, after discovering raiding for myself and wanting to join a guild, progress and make a name for myself on my little server, the only problem, I was 14 years old. Nah, no one wants a 14-year-old tank. That's a fail. That's a fail. I'm not playing with a 14-year-old tank. That's fucking not happening. That's absolutely not happening under any circumstances whatsoever. There is zero chance. When I started playing World of Warcraft, I also got my friends Calendar and Cryo Bomber to play with me. Calendar was one of my closest friends, and Cryo Bomber was her boyfriend, which he still is 13 years later. Respect. Since we all faced the same problem, I decided that I would pick up the mantle of Guildmaster, the 14-year-old Guildmaster and tank. This was done so that age would not stop us from raiding with people, because if I was in charge, they couldn't kick me. We could also set our raiding hours around our bedtime, so that would no longer interfere with progress. It works. It's a good solution. It works. It's a good solution. It works. This was the dawn of the Stars of Destiny, our guild. Eventually, we got a couple more people and pugged the rest, and off to Firelands we went. Our only problem was, and something that we did not want to admit at the time, we were fucking dog shit at this game. Oh no! The prestigious first 2 raid nights of the Stars of Destiny could not kill a single boss. You couldn't kill any of the bosses in Firelands. Damn. 2 raid nights. That was a really easy raid up until Raggy. That was a really easy raid. Oof. The off-tank left mid-progress. Mid-progress. And Calendar said in our officer chat, perhaps we should use a different system than finding people in trade chat just before the raid started. She said, good guilds recruit on the forums. Yeah. That's how they do it. That's how it's done. This system of our post on the forum found us Tyun, our new paladin off-tank. With Tyun, we finally achieved the impossible. We killed Beth Tilak normal mode. We never killed anything else, but in my eyes, I could see that our team was progressing and becoming stronger and better. Tyun told us that he used to be in a family guild run by his dad, Fat Kid. And his dad told him where to look up guides, what add-ons to get, how to kill the bosses. And I'll be real with you, I didn't know people made guides for video games outside of books. And I also had heard about add-ons, but thought they were some sort of game hacks. I can't tell you how, but in the weeks beforehand, nobody ever corrected me on these assumptions. Yeah, this is sorcery. True, hacks. That's right. Yoshi P is very happy with that one. Yoshi P is very happy. Add-ons are hacks and guides come in a book. When Tyun found this out, he burst out laughing. He asked genuinely, you guys are playing with no add-ons at all. And you've really never looked online for a guide for any of the bosses you're about to do. I said, no, but maybe his dad could teach us. And lo and behold, the next raid night, Papa Fat Kid joined our TeamSpeak and started telling us about icy veins, mechanics, add-ons in the game that we should get, and they weren't illegal. What started out as a small favor for his son quickly turned into Papa Fat Kid becoming a fully fledged member of the Stars of Destiny. We quickly promoted him to our raid leader, and Ragnaros soon lay dead before us. And I took the first big screenshot that I am looking back on now as I type this tale to you guys. Of course, Fat Kid only joined with his alt, but for us, he was our champion. He was not just a father, but a commander, and the coolest guy ever. He was so calm. He never spoke down to us. He always tried to have a little fun when teaching us how to play the game. All super basic stuff, but all we needed for our first footsteps into Heroic. One of his lessons became a running joke in our raid nights, and it was a nursery rhyme that he wrote for us for pulling and CCing. Is it cold? Let it be. Hitting zaps, not with me. Let the sheep get beauty sleep. And oh my God, don't touch the frog. Fat Kid explained to us that Tyun was his youngest son. He used to play football with his older kids to spend time with them, and since Tyun was a fat boy, he was more into video games. And he had decided to jump into video games to spend time with him there. I'll be honest, as someone who is estranged with his father, who never found connection to him in my teens whatsoever, Fat Kid seemed like the dad I always wanted to be. He became a staple of our guild, and honestly, our guild climate was so happy. A guy who filled in once saw our weird guild constellation with a middle-aged man leading a bunch of preteens and said it felt like Papa Smurf and the Smurfs. And the nickname of Papa Fat Kid became Papa Smurf from that day forward. Calendar and Cryobomber, though, were on their honeymoon phase, so they regularly went away during raid breaks, so Fat Kid became the person I talked to the most. The problem was none of us really liked his son anymore. The problem was, when we started, his son Tyun was way better than all of us. But we had not only caught up to him, but had now outprogressed him, as he didn't like learning from his own father and would ignore the advice Daddy gave. Fucking hell, is this relatable? My kids are shit at video games. It's unbelievable. This is so fucking relatable. So relatable. It was now very normal for every one of the raid team to outperform him. He still carried the attitude with him as if he was doing us a favor, though he was becoming more of a burden than a benefit. At one point, he said that he honestly only applied to our guild because Calendar was a girl, and he hoped that her and Cryobomber would break up so he could, in his words, crush that puss. He said this while Cryobomber was in the chat and created a lot of angst in the team. So sexy. I mean, what girl is going to say no? Honestly, what girl is going to say no to an offer like that? It came to a point, though, where we would regularly do things in groups, like dungeons or PvP, and whenever Tyun wanted to join in, the only thing people would say was, "But is your dad coming as well?" This turned into a huge meme in the guild, but I can only imagine what it felt like for Tyun, who would not get invited unless his dad would come along with him. Of course, Tyun being young, the obvious situation occurred. Tyun started to moan to his dad about the guild. Fat Kid even tried to mediate and told Tyun when our criticism was valid or when he messed up mechanics, saying it was very clearly difficult for Fat Kid to explain to his son that he wasn't very good at World of Warcraft. Politely as possible, son, you are pretty shit. I've got to be honest with you, kid. You're just not very good. And they have a point. These guys have a point. You're just pretty shit. Then another problem came up, though. Eventually, Tyun had enough of this and decided to play a harder game, in his words, Call of Duty, with other people. At first, I thought this would solve our problems, but then Fat Kid sat us down, told us that he had a wonderful time, but the only reason he was playing was to spend time with Tyun, so he was going to stop playing WoW to play some Call of Duty with him. We later found out that he left all of his gold in our guild bank without even mentioning it in his goodbyes. Salute that man. Salute that man. It's years later now as I'm writing this to you, and I still think about Fat Kid and Tyun. I hope they are doing well, and I often wonder what happened over the years. And to this day, I still think Fat Kid has influenced me and helped me to become a better person. We had a little time of reading my story. Oh, is that where you are? For obvious years. Even though I don't play WoW anymore, I still say, wherever you are, thank you, Fat Kid, because I think I'm going to be a better father because of the brief time I spent with you. What a lovely way to finish our little Saturday drama time. That's fantastic. That poor kid, though. That dad really, really tried. I mean, dude, I've put in so much effort to play games with my kids. They love games, but God, they're shit. And they only want to play Roblox and stuff, man. And it's fucking hard work. It's really hard work. It's a tough old time. Do you know what I mean? It's really rough. That was a lovely story. That was a great story. Everything from... What a day. We'd have everything from our asparagus farm picking Australian world first raiders to an influential and positive role model in forms of father. But that will bring us to the end of drama for today. I am shooting over to the couch I am going to be joined by the one Mr. Bell Jesse in approximately 20 or so minutes. I'm going to get changed. I'm going to have my lunch. And we are going to see, because I don't believe it's dead yet. Are they saving the kill for when I get on there? Zaskan still lives? It still lives. So I am going to go and see Zaskan dead. And also see Magmarox die. And maybe Notharian. 23.8. So we've still got a little ways to go. Thank you for tuning in on Saturday. There is no stream tomorrow on Sunday. I'm chilling. But we are back as normal on Monday. All right, guys. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.